Baltimore Police Commissioner Anthony Batts is confirming that police officers failed to buckle up Freddie Gray when they transported him. He said at today's news conference that there's no excuse. The deputy commissioner added Gray should have received medical attention before being put into the van. The officers put Gray in the back of their van in handcuffs and leg irons, where he experienced a so-called rough ride. Many are speculating that it aggravated Gray's injuries and likely caused his death. Organizers are planning another round of protest against police brutality this Saturday. The Reverend Todd Yeary is senior pastor of Douglas Memorial Community Church in Baltimore. Reverend Yeary has been closely involved with other clergy and community leaders in voicing concerns about Freddie Gray's case, and he joins us from Baltimore. Reverend Gray, thank you so much for being here with us. I appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Let me first just get your reaction to the press conference, the statements that were made by the police commissioner and the mayor today.
Well, I think it's an unfolding saga. It's an indication of just how difficult it is to get timely and factual information. The concerns about whether or not the ride exacerbated other injuries that were sustained earlier is a concern. But I think it also emphasizes the need to get all of the information and all of the facts before making any determinations about what might have happened or what the next steps should be.
There seems to be a growing chorus of calls for Police Commissioner Anthony Batts to resign. He said in the press conference today that's not going to happen. Where do you stand on that? Should he resign?
Well, the commissioner works for the mayor. If the mayor is confident in the work that he's done, then she should support him wholeheartedly. I think in terms of what he has stated as his commitment to transform the department is probably one of the more forward commitments from any commissioner that I've heard about going through culture change. And so I think if we understand how long it takes to turn organizations around, we cannot put too tight of a time frame on it. I believe he is sincere when he says he's trying to do the work and he's making the effort. I think you hear it in terms of how he's even framing the reporting on Freddie Gray. He's not overcommitting one way or the other, but saying, look, we're going to follow this wherever it takes us. I think we got to let it run its course and let the commissioner do his job.
Pastor Yeary, it would seem, at least from those of us who are observing this from the outside, that the outrage has grown over time. The number of protesters, and the movement to protest what happened to Freddie Gray seems to have increased over time. So here's my question. With a black police commissioner and a black mayor, is there a sense in the community that justice will be done in this case?
Well, there's a hope in the community that justice will be done, but let's be clear, the reason why there's a concern about whether or not justice will be done is less connected to the fact that we have a black mayor and a black police commissioner, but we see an unsavory pattern of what happens to black victims in police custody generally. And so until we address that root issue and get to an understanding about how over-enforcement and police philosophy in neighborhoods and cities across the country is getting more and more problematic, I think we'll find ourselves having to push back against the tendency to overanalyze. And let's look at the fact that this is a structural law enforcement philosophy issue that goes back many, many years across many administrations and departments. And it is presenting, I think, some real-time difficulties that must force us to look seriously at how policing has historically been done.
Reverend, the mayor is a member of your congregation. I know you've had conversations with her outside of her public statements. Can you give us a little bit of insight of what she's dealing with internally with this situation?
As with any elected official, as her pastor, I spiritually encourage her. I pray with and for her and her family. It is a time when there's a great deal of pressure that she is dealing with, but that's why she's mayor. She understands that comes with the job.
You are,
and so
you're part of a coalition. Let me jump in there. I want to get to one more thing before I have to let you go. You're part of a coalition of civil rights leaders, community advocates, faith leaders, as you are. Have sent a letter to the governor, appealing to the governor to address this issue. What is it that you want the governor's office to do?
Well, the body camera bill that he has indicated he will sign is absent of funding. If we're going to go to body cameras, we need resources to get the cameras in play, if you will. That's one thing. In terms of addressing concerns about the application of LEOBR, the Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights, the General Assembly needs to address whether or not that's been an appropriate application. It wasn't done in the 90-day session. We're asking the governor to call a special session. And then finally, we're asking the governor to put all of the resources to bear to come up with an urban redevelopment strategy to help neighborhoods that have been over-enforced and underserviced to address the structural things that are contributing to some of the difficulties we're seeing in communities like Sandtown, Winchester, and other parts of the city and even the country.
Reverend S. Todd Yeary, thank you, sir, so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.